The old station floated in the emptiness of space. Its broken walls and silent corridors were filled with shadows. Most humans avoided such places, calling them haunted or cursed. But this man, an explorer named Daniel, did not turn back. He walked slowly, his flashlight cutting through the dust-filled air. The silence was heavy, pressing on his ears. Every step he took echoed like a warning. He felt the weight of the forgotten past around him. This place was once full of life, voices and strange alien machines. Now it was only a graveyard drifting between the stars. Daniel stopped, his breath caught in his throat. From deep inside the corridor came a sound, not metal creaking, not air hissing. It was soft, too soft, like a child crying. His heart beat faster. It made no sense, there should be no one here. No life in this dead place, yet the sound returned. A small weeping, it echoed faintly, like sadness itself trapped in the walls. He raised his flashlight and moved forward. The sound grew clearer with every step. He tried to tell himself it was only his mind, perhaps his memory playing tricks on him. But the cry was real, too real. It carried pain, fear, and loneliness. Daniel whispered, "Who's there?" His voice shook and his words were swallowed by the silence. No answer came, only another soft sob. The cry pulled him deeper into the station. His boots tapped against the metal floor, each step sounding louder than before. He passed broken doors and shattered screens. Symbols carved on the walls glowed faintly. Alien letters he could not read. The cry continued, guiding him like a sad song. Every corner he turned made his fear grow, yet something inside pushed him to follow. He could not walk away. Finally, at the end of a long corridor, he froze. There, sitting on the floor, was a small figure, the shape of a child, thin and trembling. Her shoulders shook as she wept quietly into her hands. Daniel's chest tightened. She was not human. Her skin shimmered faintly, pale silver under his light. Her hair fell in strange patterns, glowing softly like threads of the moon. And when she lifted her face, her eyes, large, glass-like, full of tears, looked straight into his. For a moment he could not move. She looked fragile, like she did not belong in this world. Her tears rolled down her cheeks. Catching the light like falling stars, Daniel felt something he had not felt in years, pity and fear at the same time. He took a step closer carefully. "Are you hurt?" he asked, voice low. The alien girl shook her head but said nothing. Her lips trembled, her tiny hands clutching her chest as if to hold in her heartbeat. Daniel slowly knelt down. He wanted to comfort her, to show she was not alone. But before he could speak again, her voice broke the silence. It was soft, almost like wind. Her words strange but clear enough to understand. "They will come back for me," she whispered. Her voice cracked with fear. Daniel's skin turned cold. The shadows around them felt heavier. The air itself seemed to freeze. He opened his mouth to ask who they were, but before the words left his lips, the girl's tears fell harder. She looked over her shoulder, as if expecting something terrible to appear. Her whole body shook, her breath shallow and quick. Daniel felt the weight of her words. Whoever they were, he knew danger was near. And now, by finding her, he had stepped into it. The cry of a child was no longer only sadness. It was a warning. In the silence that followed, the sound of distant metal echoed, a slow, heavy rhythm like footsteps in the dark. Daniel's eyes darted down the corridor. He tightened his grip on the flashlight, his heartbeat racing. The girl clung to him suddenly, burying her face in his chest. Her body was trembling, her voice breaking. "If they see you with me, you will die too," she whispered. Daniel froze. The cold air filled his lungs. The darkness around them seemed to close in. He realized that his choice to follow the sound of a weeping child had led him to something far more dangerous than he imagined. And as the distant footsteps grew louder, Daniel knew this was only the beginning. Daniel's breath came fast as the sound of footsteps echoed in the distance. The girl clung to him with trembling arms, her small body shaking like a leaf caught in a storm. Her silver eyes stared up at him wide with fear, glowing faintly in the dark corridor. "Who are you?" Daniel whispered, his voice low but urgent. She pressed her lips together, refusing to speak. Instead, she looked back into the darkness as though expecting the hunters to appear at any moment. Daniel's instincts screamed at him to run. But something in the girl's eyes, something broken and helpless, held him in place. She was more than just a lost child. She was hiding a truth she could not share. The footsteps faded for now, replaced by the groan of shifting metal. Daniel led the girl into a side chamber, A room filled with broken alien machines, dust covered the surfaces, and glowing vines had grown between the cracks. Here, for a moment, they were safe. He knelt before her, shining his light gently across her face. "You need to tell me," he said softly. "Why are you here? Who is chasing you?" The girl hesitated, her tears still clinging to her cheeks. Finally, she whispered, "They are the hunters." The word chilled Daniel. Hunters? He had heard stories about them. Creatures that moved through the galaxy like shadows, preying on the weak. But he never believed he would meet one, let alone be hunted by them. "They took my family," the girl whispered, her voice breaking. "They came with claws and fire. They dragged them away, and I ran. I kept running, but they will not stop until they find me." Her words stabbed at Daniel's chest. He imagined her small legs carrying her through the endless halls, her cries echoing in the darkness. He saw her parents taken, her world collapsing before her eyes. She was not just afraid, she was alone. Daniel swallowed hard. "What do they want with you?" he asked. The girl lowered her gaze, pressing her small hand against her chest. There was a faint glow beneath her palm, a soft, pulsing light. "They want this," she whispered. "The crystal heart." Daniel frowned, confused. "What is that?" The girl shook her head, silver hair falling across her face. "It is life, it is power. It is everything they desire. If they take it from me, I will die. But if I live, they cannot control what I carry inside." Daniel stared at her. This child, this fragile being, was carrying something far greater than herself. The glow beneath her skin was faint but alive, like a heartbeat made of light. No wonder the hunters wanted her, and no wonder she was terrified. A cold shiver ran through the chamber as a distant growl echoed from the corridor. The girl's body tensed, her eyes filling with fear again. "They are close," she whispered. "We should not stay here." Daniel's mind raced. He could leave her, save himself before the hunters saw him, but his conscience burned inside him. He had found her, and now her fate was tied to his. He could not abandon her to monsters. "Listen," he said firmly, taking her tiny hand in his. "I will not let them take you." Her eyes widened, confusion mixing with fear. "You are human," she said softly. "They will kill you too." Daniel squeezed her hand. "Then we run together." The girl's lip trembled, but for the first time she nodded in her eyes. A faint spark of hope flickered, but as Daniel stood, something on the wall caught his attention. The alien symbols carved deep into the metal glowed brighter now. Strange runes, spirals, and circles pulsed like veins of light. The girl froze, staring at them with wide eyes.
"These walls," she whispered.
"They remember us." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" Her gaze softened, almost sad. "My people built this place long ago. It was meant to keep us safe, but now it is broken. It cannot protect us anymore." The word sent a chill through Daniel's spine. He realized this station was not just an abandoned ruin. It was a grave of her people, a memory of a dying race. And now she was the last piece of it left. Suddenly, a loud crash thundered through the corridor outside. Metal twisted, and sparks rained as the hunters forced their way closer. The girl gripped his arm tightly, her voice breaking into a desperate cry. "They have found us!" Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. He looked around the broken chamber, searching for an escape. The walls closed in. The shadows seemed alive. The air grew heavy with the sound of claws scraping metal. The girl's eyes glowed brighter, the light in her chest pulsing fast. "Do not let them touch me," she begged, her voice trembling. "If they do, everything will end." Daniel tightened his jaw. He had no weapon, no armor, only his strength and his will. But he knew one thing. He would not let her fall into their hands. Whatever the hunters wanted, they would not take it from her. Not while he still breathed. The footsteps drew nearer, echoing like thunder in the corridor. The girl pressed herself against him, her small frame shivering. Daniel's grip on her hand tightened as he whispered, "Stay behind me." The air grew darker, filled with a heavy silence, and then from the shadows beyond the chamber came the first growl, deep and sharp. The hunters had arrived. The growl echoed like thunder through the chamber. Daniel's flashlight shook in his hand as the sound of heavy footsteps came closer. The alien girl pressed against him, her silver eyes wide with fear. Her hand clutched at his sleeve as if letting go would mean death. From the corridor outside, claws scraped against the metal floor. Slow and deliberate, the hunters were near, their presence like a storm waiting to break. Daniel could almost feel their hunger in the air. It was not just a hunt, it was a promise of violence. "Run," Daniel whispered, his voice sharp but quiet. The girl nodded quickly, her glow flickering with panic. Together they darted through a side passage, the beam of his light bouncing wildly against the broken walls. The station groaned as if waking from its long sleep. Dust rained from the ceiling, and shadows danced in every corner. Behind them the growls grew louder, turning into roars. The hunters had found their trail. The girl's breath came in sharp gasps. Her small legs struggled to keep up. But Daniel pulled her along, refusing to slow. The corridor twisted and stretched like a maze, each turn leading deeper into the unknown. Yet the sound of pursuit never faded, it only grew closer. Daniel's heart pounded. His instincts screamed at him to find cover. But the passage kept leading them forward. Every few steps he risked a glance back. Shapes moved in the darkness, tall, armored, their eyes glowing red. The hunters were fast, too fast. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a vast hall, the ceiling arched high above, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly like stars. Broken pillars leaned against one another, and shattered machines lay across the floor. For a moment Daniel slowed, staring in awe, but the girl tugged his arm desperately. "There is no safety here," she cried. A deep roar confirmed her words. The hunters entered the hall, their shadows stretching across the walls. Daniel tightened his grip on the girl's hand and sprinted again. The hunters' claws struck the floor, sparks flying as they closed in. Daniel spotted a narrow stairwell ahead, half collapsed but still open. "This way," he hissed, pulling her toward it. They stumbled down the steps, the air growing colder, the walls closing tighter. The girl's small body shook with exhaustion, but she did not complain. At the bottom of the stairwell, they entered a lower chamber. Strange glass tubes lined the walls, cracked and empty. Inside them lay fragments of bone and dust. Daniel shivered, realizing this was once a place where her people lived, or were trapped. The girl's voice trembled. "They used us long ago. They tried to take the crystal hearts from the living." Her words sent ice through Daniel's veins. These machines, these tubes, they were graves. And now the hunters wanted to repeat the same cruelty on her. The sound of claws echoed again, closer now. The hunters were not far behind. Daniel searched desperately for a way out. On the far side of the chamber stood a sealed door. Its surface covered in glowing symbols. He ran toward it, slamming his hands against the surface. "Open," he begged, though he knew it could not understand. But the girl stepped forward, placing her small, glowing hand against the door. The symbols flared to life, brighter and brighter until the whole room shone with alien light. With a heavy groan, the door slowly slid open. Daniel stared at her in shock. "You can control it," he whispered. She shook her head weakly. "Only for now. The crystal inside me remembers this place, but it will not last." The hunters roared as they entered the chamber. Daniel grabbed the girl and rushed through the doorway just as it began to close. Claws struck the metal, sparks flying as the door sealed shut. The sound of enraged growls echoed behind them. Shaking the walls for a moment, silence returned. Daniel leaned against the wall. His chest heaving, the girl slumped beside him, her face pale, her glow dimmer than before. "You saved us," Daniel said softly, but she shook her head, her voice weak. "No, I only delayed them. They will never stop, they always follow, always hunt." Daniel looked around. They stood in another corridor, but this one was different. The walls glowed with flowing lines of light, as if energy still lived inside them. It felt alive, watching, guiding. Daniel did not know whether to trust it. The girl's silver eyes met his. "My people were hunted for centuries," she whispered. "But they also left secrets behind, hidden paths, forbidden places. If I can reach the heart of this station, maybe we can escape." Her words gave him hope, but also dread. Escape meant more running, more danger, more blood, and yet he saw the truth in her eyes. There was no turning back. The hunters would never stop until they had her crystal heart. Suddenly the walls around them flickered. Strange visions appeared in Daniel's mind, images that were not his own. He saw stars exploding, planets burning, hunters tearing through cities. And then he saw the girl's people, glowing with light, standing against the darkness. When the vision ended, Daniel gasped, gripping his head. "What was that?" he demanded. The girl's voice was soft, sorrowful. "Those are the memories of the crystal heart. Now you see why they fear us." Before Daniel could reply, the walls shook violently. The hunters were forcing their way through the sealed door. The sound of tearing metal echoed through the corridor. The girl clung to him again, fear in her voice. "They are coming!" Daniel tightened his grip on her hand, his heart hammering. There was no more time to think, no more time to question. He pulled her forward. Deeper into the glowing passage behind them, the hunters roared, their voices shaking the walls. The chase had only just begun. The corridor shook as metal twisted behind them. The hunters were breaking through the sealed door, their roars filling the halls. Daniel ran with the alien girl clinging to his arm, their steps echoing against the glowing walls. The passage bent sharply, opening into a vast chamber filled with broken pillars and shattered statues. Daniel slowed, his flashlight sweeping across the ruins. This place felt older than the rest of the station. Strange carvings lined the walls, glowing faintly like stars trapped in stone. The girl's eyes widened as she whispered, "This was a sanctuary." Before Daniel could reply, a heavy thud shook the ground. He froze, his chest tight. From the shadows at the far end of the chamber, something enormous moved. A low growl rumbled, echoing like thunder against the walls. The girl's small hand tightened around his, her body trembling. She did not need to say it. Daniel already knew. One of the hunters was here, waiting for them. The shadow stepped forward, revealing its monstrous form, tall and armored, with claws that scraped the floor. Its head was hidden beneath a mask of metal, two red eyes burning like fire. Every movement dripped with power and cruelty. Daniel's heart hammered. He had no weapon strong enough to fight this creature. His instincts screamed to run, but the door behind them was sealed, and the only path forward was blocked by the hunter. The girl whimpered softly, hiding against his side. The hunter tilted its head, its voice deep and mocking. "You protect her," it growled. "A human, weak and fragile. Do you even know what she carries inside?" Daniel forced his voice steady, though his body shook. "I don't care what she carries, I won't let you touch her." The hunter let out a harsh laugh, its claws sparking as they scraped against stone. "You cannot protect her, no one can. She was born to be taken. Her heart crystal belongs to us," the girl cried out, her silver eyes glowing with fear. She clutched her chest as if to shield the light inside. Daniel stepped in front of her, arms spread wide, his voice rose in defiance. "You'll have to go through me first." The hunter lunged forward with terrifying speed. Daniel barely had time to pull the girl aside as the claws smashed into the floor, sending shards of stone flying. The ground shook beneath the impact, dust filling the air. Daniel coughed, pulling the girl back. But the hunter came again, its massive arm sweeping like a blade. The girl screamed, her small body glowing faintly. For an instant, a pulse of light burst from her chest, slamming into the hunter with a flash. The creature stumbled back, roaring in pain. Its armor cracked slightly, smoke rising from the glowing mark. Daniel stared in shock. The girl collapsed into his arms. Weak and trembling, her glow flickered, dimming quickly. I cannot hold it," she whispered. "It is too strong." The hunter straightened, its laughter echoing across the chamber. "So the crystal still fights, but the child cannot control it. She is weak, and you are weaker." It raised its claws again, stepping forward with a terrifying calm. Daniel's mind raced. He could not fight this monster, but he could not give up either. His eyes darted around the chamber, searching desperately for something, anything that could help. The statues along the walls seemed to shimmer faintly. Old alien faces carved in stone, watching silently. Symbols glowed brighter, as if responding to the girl's presence. Daniel realized the sanctuary itself was alive, waiting. He turned to her, shaking her gently. "Listen, you have to trust this place. You opened the last door. Maybe you can awaken this too." The girl's eyes fluttered weakly, fear filling her gaze. "They built this place to protect us, but it has been asleep for so long," the hunter roared. Charging again, Daniel pulled the girl aside just in time, the claws tearing through stone where they had stood. The ground cracked, dust exploding around them. Daniel's muscles burned, his breath ragged, but he refused to let go. The girl raised her trembling hand toward the statues. The symbols flared with sudden light, streams of energy running through the walls. The sanctuary trembled as if waking from a long dream. The hunter stopped, its eyes narrowing, its voice filled with anger. "No, not here. Not this place." The girl's glow spread, though it weakened her body even more. She collapsed to her knees, whispering, "I cannot hold it for long." Daniel knelt beside her, lifting her up, his eyes blazing with determination. "Then I'll hold them off. Just give me a chance." The hunter stepped closer, its claws dripping with energy. "You will die here, human." "And she will still be ours." Daniel clenched his fists, Standing tall despite the fear inside him, he had no blade, no armor, only his will. But he knew one truth: if he ran, she would be lost. And he could not let that happen. The sanctuary walls pulsed brighter. Light flowing like rivers, the statues seemed to whisper, their stone faces alive with ancient memory. The hunter hesitated, its massive body caught between fear and fury. The girl's glow flickered once more, her silver eyes meeting Daniel's. "If I give too much, I will burn out," she whispered. Daniel's chest tightened. "Don't give up, not yet." "I'm still here," the hunter roared and lunged. Its claws raised for the final strike. Daniel braced himself. Pulling the girl close, the air trembled. The walls blazed with light, and as the shadow fell upon them, the sanctuary awakened with a deafening burst. The sanctuary blazed with light. Streams of energy shot across the walls. Racing like fire through veins, the hunter staggered back, roaring as the glow burned against its armored skin. Its claws scraped the ground, sparks flying, but still it did not fall. Daniel held the alien girl close, her small body trembling in his arms. Her glow had grown weaker, her breath shallow and quick. She leaned against him, her voice soft as a whisper. "I cannot fight much longer." The hunter rose again, its eyes burning red. "You cannot escape," it growled. "Even if this place fights for you, it will not last. Give her to me, human, and I may let you live." Daniel's jaw tightened, his heart thundering in his chest. He looked at the girl, her silver eyes filled with fear, and then back at the beast. There was no choice to make, not really. The hunter charged, claws tearing through the floor. Daniel pulled the girl aside. The strike missing by inches, stone shattered. Dust filling the air, he coughed, pulling her to her feet, forcing his legs to move. His body ached, but he could not stop. They ran through the glowing sanctuary, the hunter's heavy steps pounding behind them. The girl clutched her chest, the light inside her flickering like a dying star. Daniel's mind raced. He could see she was breaking, her power draining faster than her small body could handle. She would not survive this for long. At the far end of the sanctuary, they stumbled into another chamber. It was smaller but alive with strange machines. Tall pillars hummed with faint energy, symbols pulsing across their surfaces. In the center stood a crystal structure, broken but still glowing faintly. The girl gasped, her weak voice trembling. "The heart of the station." Daniel set her down gently, his eyes scanning the room. The machines seemed to awaken at her presence. Humming louder, the glow spread across the walls, lighting the chamber with a pale blue shine, but it was not enough. Not against the hunter breaking through the doorway behind them. The creature stepped forward, its body scorched but still strong. It raised its claws, its voice dark and cruel. "Nowhere left to run, human. Hand her over." Daniel's fists clenched. His body tense, he stood between the hunter and the girl, his voice sharp. "You'll have to kill me first." The hunter tilted its head, laughing low and bitter. "Do you think your sacrifice matters? You are only flesh and bone, weak, breakable. She carries power that could shape worlds. What are you compared to that?" Daniel's heart pounded, but he did not move. He knew the truth. The girl's life was worth more than his own. Yet he also knew she was only a child, scared and alone. She deserved more than to be torn apart by monsters. The girl's hand touched his back, her voice soft. "You don't understand," she whispered. "The crystal heart inside me. It can save you, but only once. If I give it, you will live." "But I will die." Daniel froze. His throat tight, he turned to her, staring into her glowing eyes. Her words cut through him like a blade. She was offering her life for his. "No," Daniel said sharply, his voice trembling. "I won't let you. I won't trade your life for mine." Tears glimmered in her eyes, her small voice breaking. "You will die if I don't. And then they will take me anyway." The hunter's roar shook the chamber, its patience ending. It lunged forward, its claws slicing through the air. Daniel grabbed the girl and rolled aside, the strike slamming into the crystal structure. The room shook violently, light bursting across the walls. The machines screamed with sudden power, energy flooding the chamber. The girl cried out, her glow flaring. The crystal inside her chest pulsed in answer. Her body shook as if the machines were calling to her. She clutched her chest, tears streaming down her face. "It is too much. I cannot hold it," she gasped. Daniel held her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. "You're not alone anymore," he said fiercely. "I'm here, we'll find another way." Her lips trembled, her tears falling faster. "There is no other way." The hunter rose again, snarling. Daniel knew he had only moments. He turned to the girl, his voice desperate. Listen to me. Your life matters more than mine. I don't care what they want. I don't care what power you carry. I will not let you die for me. The girl shook her head, her small voice filled with sorrow. You are human, but you are not like them. You chose to protect me, even when you could run if you live. Maybe my people's story will live too. The hunter charged again, the chamber trembling with its weight. Daniel pulled the girl behind him, bracing for the blow. The machine pillars flared brighter, streams of light racing through the walls. The girl screamed, her glow bursting outward. The energy slammed into the hunter, sending it crashing back into the wall. The chamber filled with blinding light. The girl collapsed against Daniel's chest, her body trembling. Her weak voice whispered, "You have to choose, save yourself with my gift, or protect me and fight until the end." Daniel's chest tightened. His choice was clear, but it tore at his soul. He could take her power and survive, but she would die, or he could keep fighting by her side, risking everything against impossible odds. He looked at her small face, pale and fragile. Her silver eyes shimmered with tears, yet there was hope hidden deep inside them. She was willing to give everything for him, but he was not willing to lose her. Daniel clenched his jaw, turning to face the hunter rising again. "I've made my choice," he whispered. His body ached, his chances were thin, but his will was unbroken. He would protect her. No matter the cost, the hunter roared. Stepping forward again, the chamber shook. The machine screamed with power, and Daniel stood tall, ready to fight with nothing but his courage, for the girl, for her people, for the choice that defined him. The chamber trembled as the hunter advanced again. Its massive claws scraped the glowing floor, sparks flying with each step. Daniel stood in front of the alien girl, his body shaking with exhaustion but his will unbroken. He had made his choice. He would not take her life to save his own. The girl's breath came shallow, her silver eyes dim with weakness. Her chest glowed faintly, the crystal heart pulsing like a candle about to fade. She clung to his arm, whispering through trembling lips, "They will never stop unless I end it." Daniel shook his head, his voice sharp and desperate. "No, don't say that. You're not going to end anything. We'll find another way." But her eyes were sorrowful, full of knowledge beyond her years. "You still don't understand," she whispered. "The crystal heart is not meant for me alone. It was made to protect the galaxy, to fight the darkness if I give it. The hunters cannot win." The hunter roared, its red eyes blazing with hunger. It lunged, its claws raised high. Daniel pulled the girl aside, the strike smashing into the floor with an explosion of stone and dust. The chamber shook violently, light flickering across the walls. Daniel coughed, pulling her closer. "You don't have to do this," he pleaded. "You're just a child. This isn't your burden." Her voice cracked, tears sliding down her glowing cheeks. "But it is mine. I was born carrying this, and if I do nothing, everything will be lost." Before Daniel could answer, the hunter struck again, its claws slamming into one of the tall machines. The crystal pillar cracked, streams of energy bursting into the air. The chamber filled with a high-pitched scream. The light flaring dangerously, the girl cried out, gripping her chest as the glow inside her pulsed violently in response. The hunter snarled, stumbling back from the blast, but it laughed, its deep voice shaking the walls. "Do you see, human? She cannot control it. Her own power will destroy her. And you will die with her." Daniel's fury burned. He stood tall, shielding her with his body, his voice rising in defiance. "Then I'll die fighting before I let you touch her." The girl's tears sparkled as she stared at him. "You are not like the others," she whispered. "You don't see me as a weapon, you see me as a person." Her small hand touched his face, warm and trembling. "Then I will trust you. But you must let me do this." The walls shuddered as more hunters forced their way into the chamber. Shadows spilled in, red eyes glowing like a storm of fire. Daniel's chest tightened. One hunter was almost too much. Now there were many. The girl stood slowly, her body weak but her glow growing stronger. Her silver eyes shone with determination. She looked at Daniel one last time, whispering, "Protect me only for a moment, and I will protect you forever." Daniel's heart broke at her words, but he nodded. He turned to face the hunters. Fists clenched, every muscle in his body screamed with pain, but he would not move aside. Not while she still had hope. The hunters charged, their roars filling the chamber. Daniel swung a broken piece of stone like a weapon. Striking the first one across its face, the creature snarled, slamming him back. pain shooting through his ribs, but he stood again, blood running down his cheek, refusing to fall. Behind him, the girl raised her arms, her crystal heart blazing. The light spread across her skin, brighter and brighter until her whole body glowed like a star. Her voice rose clear and strong for the first time. "You will not take me, you will not take my people, and you will not take him," the sanctuary answered. The walls flared with living light, the broken machines roared awake. Streams of energy shot from the crystal pillars, weaving together around her small frame. The hunters froze, their red eyes narrowing in fear. One stepped back, its voice breaking with rage. "No, not this power, not again." Daniel shielded his eyes as the light grew unbearable. The girl's body floated slightly above the floor, her silver hair shining like fire. The glow from her chest exploded outward in a wave of pure energy. The hunters screamed, their armor cracking, their claws melting in the light. One by one they fell, their shadows burning away until nothing was left. The chamber shook like a dying world, but Daniel could only watch. Tears blurred his vision as the girl's glow began to fade. Her body trembled, her small voice whispering weakly, "It is done. They are gone." Daniel caught her as she collapsed into his arms. Her silver eyes fluttered, her glow dimming with each breath. "No, stay with me," Daniel begged, his voice breaking. "You're not done yet." "You can't be," she smiled faintly, a single tear sliding down her cheek. "You wanted to protect me, but I had to protect you too now. Now you know why they feared us." Her chest flickered weakly, the crystal heart dimming. Daniel's tears fell onto her pale skin, his hands shaking as he held her close. The silence of the chamber was heavy, broken only by his desperate sobs, but then, before her light went out completely, she placed a small crystal shard into his hand, her voice soft as the last breath of wind. "This is my gift. It carries my memory, my hope, and my people's truth. Don't let it fade." Her hand fell limp, her glow fading into silence. Daniel pressed his forehead against hers. His heart shattered around them, the sanctuary glowed faintly, as if mourning its last child, and in that quiet, Daniel understood the truth. Her sacrifice was not just for him, it was for the galaxy. But the weight of it pressed down on him like a mountain. He had promised to protect her, and yet he had lost her. The crystal shard pulsed faintly in his hand, alive with her light, and Daniel swore through his tears, "Your story will not end here." The chamber was silent. The light that had burned so brightly now faded into a pale glow. Daniel knelt on the cold floor, the alien girl resting motionless in his arms. Her silver eyes were closed, her breath gone, her glow dimmed to nothing. The hunters were no more, their shadows erased by her final sacrifice. But victory felt empty, heavier than any defeat. Daniel's chest ached as if something inside him had broken. He had promised to protect her, yet here he was, holding only the fragile weight of her still body. His trembling hand clutched the small crystal shard she had given him. It pulsed faintly, warm against his skin, alive with a heartbeat that was not his own. Tears blurred his vision as he whispered, "Why did it have to be you?" The walls of the sanctuary glowed softly, as though they too were grieving. The ancient faces carved in stone seemed to bow their heads. The machines hummed faintly, not with power but with sorrow. This was the resting place of her people, and now it had become her grave as well. Daniel pressed his forehead against hers, his voice shaking. "I will not let your story end here. I promise you that." The crystal shard pulsed stronger. As if answering his vow, a faint glow spread from his hand. Climbing the walls of the chamber, suddenly visions flooded Daniel's mind. He saw her people as they once were. Glowing and proud, he saw the hunters rise, tearing through their worlds. Spreading fear and fire, he saw her family, captured and dragged away, and her small figure running, crying in the darkness, and finally, he saw her standing in front of him, offering her last gift, her last hope. Daniel gasped, his body trembling. The shard carried her memory, her voice, her very soul. She was gone, but not lost. Through him she still lived. He rose slowly, cradling her one last time before laying her gently on the glowing floor. The sanctuary's light wrapped around her body, lifting her slightly into the air. The walls sang with a soft hum, as though promising to keep her safe for eternity. Daniel stepped back, his fists clenched, his tears falling freely. "Rest now," he whispered. "I will carry the fight for you." The crystal in his hand pulsed again, brighter now. It filled him with warmth, not just sorrow but strength. He could feel her voice inside, soft and clear, Do not let the darkness win. Daniel turned toward the corridor. The hunters here were destroyed, but he knew there were more. Countless more across the stars. If they had wanted her, they would want the shard as well, and now he carried it. He stepped through the broken halls. The silence heavy but no longer empty. Every shadow reminded him of her. Every faint echo of his steps carried her memory. The station itself seemed to guide him, lights flickering to mark his path. It was no longer just ruins, it was a guardian, alive with the last of her people's will. As Daniel moved deeper, he reached a wide chamber with shattered windows looking out into space. Stars stretched endlessly, cold and beautiful. He pressed the shard against his chest, staring at the galaxy beyond. She gave everything for this, he whispered. And I will not waste it. The shard pulsed once more. And for a brief moment he saw her face reflected in the glass, her silver eyes full of light, her smile soft and sad. He closed his eyes, holding back fresh tears. She trusted me, and I won't fail her. But grief still weighed heavy. Every memory of her laugh, her fear, her courage burned inside him. She had been only a child, yet she carried a burden too heavy for anyone. And now that burden rested with him, Daniel clenched his fists, his voice breaking into the silence. Hunters, I swear you will never take another life like hers. I will fight you. I will make the galaxy remember her name. The shard's glow spread across his body, faint lines of light weaving across his skin. He gasped as warmth filled his chest, not painful but powerful. The gift she left was not only memory, it was strength. Not enough to burn like she had, but enough to protect. Enough to fight. He stepped forward, his steps firm now. No longer the wanderer who had walked these halls alone. He was carrying her light, her hope, her people's last truth. And no matter how far he had to go, he would not stop. The sanctuary doors opened slowly before him, as if the station itself bowed in respect. He walked out, the shard glowing in his hand. The stars calling him onward, his heart was broken. But within that heartbreak burned a fire. Her sacrifice had given him more than sorrow. It had given him purpose. Daniel looked once more at the endless stars. His voice was steady now, filled with resolve. I will not let your story end here, he said. The shard pulsed in answer. Alive with her memory and with that promise, he stepped into the unknown, a human carrying the light of a fallen alien child, beyond heartbreak, beyond fear, toward a future she had given her life to protect.